What's up, everybody, and welcome to Team Pizza Plays Plants vs. Zombies. Yes, the original. Now, if you don't know me, I, of course, am Whatthefnu, and if you're not familiar with this channel, what we usually do is we have two projects running alongside one another. We usually have me playing one thing by myself, and then another series where I'm just kind of messing around with my buddy Drawman, and there's a particular reason I'm playing through this right now. I've tried doing a couple different projects, just solo by myself, couple blind run-throughs of games like Volgar the Viking and what was the other one? Mark of the Ninja, and nothing clicked. Like, I hated the commentary, I was really angry, it just didn't feel good. So I was looking through my Steam library, desperately trying to find something I could actually make some videos out of, and I just happened to see this game in the list, and I was like, you know what? I kind of want to play that. So let's hop right into it, or rise up, as it were. If I'm reaching for a pun, because I'm stupid like that, of course I would. Here's a little preview of what we're going to be dealing with later. Granted, it won't start off that crazy, but it's gonna get there soon enough, mark my words. Oh right, I forgot, if you're starting up a new file, they actually make you play through a tutorial. This is basically just to introduce the standard concepts to us. You place a plant down, zombies are going to come down the lanes, if you will, of your yard, and you want to make sure you cover all your bases. You keep collecting sun as it falls down from the sky, and that'll power more plants that you can use to defend yourself with. It's basically a tower defense game that, one of the reasons... Okay, I know what I'm trying to say here. I'm trying to make a couple different points, and I'm not sticking to any of them. People love zombies. There's a universal appeal to them, and that's quite obvious to say by now, but PopCap took a different concept on the idea of actually making it cute. They took something and put a spin on it that nobody saw coming and actually made it a really good tower defense game. Now, you can't really tell, this is all pretty standard, but now that we've got our sunflower here, they're going to start showing you some of the finesse you have to work with in order to do this game properly, because after they show us how many zombies we're actually going to have to deal with in this battle, we add 2 new lanes. And so things are about to get a little bit complicated. So now, the sun we get from the sky isn't going to be enough to deal with what is going to come towards us. So, we've got to generate both sun from sunflowers, along with the currency we get naturally. That's the only way we're going to be able to keep up with all these guys that are coming our way. You can build about 1 row of sunflowers and you'll probably do well in this mission. I usually build 2 just to be on the safe side. And you'll notice I'm not putting down my pea shooter yet. I'm actually waiting till I can see which lane the zombie is in before I commit myself. You'll notice I didn't place him a little bit back here though. I don't know if you can actually see that mouse. I set it in XSplit to turn off the normal mouse, but there we go. Just get 1 baseline of defense down before we start committing ourselves. Uh-oh, I guessed wrong. I had a 50-50 shot, and now that guy's going to be able to slink a little bit closer than I'd like him to. Not too close, though. Standard zombies take about 10 hits from every single shooter. Not too much of a threat, and now that we've got a little bit of a buffer, I'd like to increase my production here a little bit. Place a couple more sunflowers down and make sure I've got the weapon, enough sun to actually build up just a ridiculous amount of defenses here, because you don't need it. As you see, 1 standard zombie can't fight against a pea shooter, and they're going to come up with new zombies later on that will actually challenge that fact, but for now, I'm just going a little slow. I also want to point out these episodes, due to the very nature of the game, these episodes are probably going to be a little longer than our standard fare of like 10 minutes. So we're going to see how that goes out. We've got a couple experimental things on this channel right now. We've got our very first dating sim, which is Hatoful Boyfriend, which, yes, that was about everything I expected it to be and more, to be totally honest with you. And now we've got a PC game like this where the episodes are really going to have to run a little bit on the long side, so we'll see how people react to this, see if it goes well. And put that guy down there just for the hell of it. And there we go, they send zombies at us a little more densely than usual. That's the word I was looking for. Gotta think about what you're gonna say before you say it. A little pro tip for all you prospective video makers out there. Every level they give you new challenges in terms of zombies. In this case we had the new lanes, and every level they also give you a new weapon. And this is the cherry bomb. I believe the term the community uses is temporary solution permanent problem. Which is, the cherry bombs cost you a lot of sun, but they'll actually eliminate an entire 3x3 grid of zombies. Just completely blow them out of the water. I should probably start placing down plants, because I know people, especially ones who play this game a lot, are real sticklers for that. It's like, just put down the plant! Do what you need to do! I know I'm like that. I'm not proud of it, but I do get that way when I'm watching some people. It's just a natural response, because video games by their nature are interactive. When you've got this thought that somebody's doing something that you wouldn't normally do, it's frustrating. You're like, just give me the controller already. I'll show you how to do it. So I promise to try and mitigate that as much as I can. It also helps that I've played this game so much, it's all pretty much like a natural reaction to me at this point. Like, I just do it. I don't even have to think about the process, because you get into a rhythm with this series after a while. You just know what to do and when to do it. Hopefully I'm going to get lucky with that middle lane. They're not going to send another zombie quite yet. As soon as I say it. As soon as I bloody say it. Look at that. Well, I was hoping to finish my factory back here, if you will. Give myself a little extra sun to work with. Because we're going to be dealing with... Aha! There he is. So this is a cone head zombie. Zombies that are wearing a cone on their head have more health than usual. You actually typically need 2 pea shooters to get rid of them. And you want to stop these guys before they get too close, obviously. You know, despite being the whole bloody point of the game. It's also a matter of not only will they try and get to you, they'll eat your plants, your towers, if you will. They'll start munching on those things, and then if they get to the end, your only line of defense is your lawnmower. That'll run over all zombies in one lane, give you a little bit of a brief period to recover, and get yourself back into the fight. But if you let them get down that lane again, you're done. The zombies will eat your brains, and it's basically game over. And you'll notice parts of our yard are still barren. This game is supposed to have 5 lanes. I know I'm kind of spoiling things a little bit there, but I don't know, am I? Is there anyone out there who legitimately hasn't played Plants vs. Zombies yet, or hasn't even heard of this series before? I'd be fascinated to know, because it is mega popular right now. It not only got a super successful sequel on the iOS, but it's also responsible for creating Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, which is one of my favorite shooters of all time, right up there with games like Team Fortress 2, Warframe, recently Splatoon. Alright, I might as well show off the cherry bomb here, just because it's the last wave. Ha, Booski! Well, that's how you beat a final wave the quick way. We got yet another plant, the walnut. At least I think it's a yeah, okay, this is not the one that has a different name. Yes, this is the walnut. Blocks off zombies and protects your other plants. So basically it's a shield that keeps your attacking towers safe. You plant that thing in front of your normal weaponry, and it'll basically buy you time in case you get overpowered. And here we go. Now the real game begins. This is where I'm comfortable. This is where everything finally comes together. Place about 2 sunflowers down. We still haven't gotten down what a lot of players would consider the most important plant in this entire game. Something that, like sunflowers or any type of attacking tower, you just wouldn't start a game without. But we'll talk about that when we get there, because I think we're going to unlock that particular plant after this level. You might have noticed there's something called stalling tactics, or at least that's what I call them anyway. I don't know what the official term would be in the community. Basically, if you don't kill one zombie quickly enough, another one won't spawn to take his place. You're basically cheating the algorithm of the game in order to make sure that you have as much time as possible, because while the zombies will be slowed down by you not killing one immediately, the generation of your sun will not slow down. So you basically have free reign to build your defenses more quickly in the early game, which will pay off gigantic dividends later on, as is the case in most resource management games like this. And there's a particular plant that helps you do that a lot. And I do mean a lot. It'll help you stall for maximum time way in the early game of every single round. Really? Throwing a cone head at me already? That's nothing I can't deal with, but still. There we go. I usually think 2 lanes worth of pea shooters should be enough in the early game, but I'm just gonna throw a wall. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, I might have thrown him in the wrong spot. This is not good. I think I might take advantage of that cherry bomb there. Because it's costly, but you can save your behind in more than one situation, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Was that a little... Did that come out of nowhere? Save your behind instead of save your ass? I don't know, I've been trying to cut back on the cursing. Because I know some people are legitimately bugged by that kind of thing, so... I consider this a channel for everybody, so I just want to make sure everyone feels like they can be at home here. One other thing I try to do. You know how I said you get into a rhythm when you start to play games like this? I really meant that. It's Zen-like. This isn't a fast-paced game. I mean, you're making tons of meaningful choices every single second about where to place a tower, and there we go. That guy managed to get to the walnut, but because the walnut has got a ton of health, it doesn't really matter. Any other plant would probably be gone in a couple seconds. He would not be able to stand up to the assault of a zombie, but walnut, stand there for days. Well, if you take care of it, that is. There is a... This is another thing we haven't gotten yet. Really, this looks very, very basic, but it gets incredibly complex as time goes by. There are all kinds of different advanced strategies I want to talk about, but I realize I'd be spoiling the surprise if I did. Things like, I wanted to talk about a power-up where you could actually place another wall. You didn't have to... Okay, it starts on a chain. First, I have to talk about the fact that you can remove certain plants from the field, and usually you'd have to do that. You'd have to remove a damaged walnut in order to place another one down to protect yourself with. But you get a power-up later on that actually allows you to bypass that whole process and just place one on top of another. I feel like that should have been a feature just to begin with, and I do believe that's something they fixed in the sequel. If not, I'll put a little note at the bottom of the screen confirming or denying that. And there we go. The first step on that little tangent. And of course, me saying that spoils that we're going to be able to buy power-ups for ourselves later on, so it's just one thing after another. And we made our first character. Greetings, neighbor. Name's Crazy Dave, but you can just call me Crazy Dave. I love this guy. I think everybody loves this guy. And then again, if you were under attack from a zombie apocalypse, especially if things like The Walking Dead are to be believed, you'd probably go a little bit nuts too. Also, nice 5 o'clock shadow, dude. Not that I'm one to talk, I just leave the whole beard in place. Let the digging commence! So yeah, it's basically the game teaching you about the fact that if you don't like where a tower is placed, you can just get rid of a particular plant. Oh goody, now for the surprise. We're going bowling! Here, take this walnut. That's an interesting perspective piece, because that walnut, we're placing them on our yard, but when we place them in the yard, they're about the size of our picket fence, aren't they? So, but yet he's holding this thing in the palm of his hand. Either our yard and the zombies are really tiny, or maybe it's just the developer being convenient for the sake of convenience's sake. Either one should be valid. Why'd I put a walnut in your hand? Well, that should be obvious. Because I'm crazy! Now go, bowl me a winner. Alright, so every 5 stages they introduce a special situation for you. Either you'll have a limited number of plants to work with, or you'll have some special situation. In this case, we're bowling for brains. Throw out a walnut and it'll hit anything it runs into. And we're slowly being fed more ammo here. You kind of want to wait a little bit before you throw these things out. Not only so you have some reserve ammo to work with, but also because, as you may have seen with my first throw, oh, there we go. I was about to say I couldn't replicate it, but these things can actually chain off of other zombies, so it might actually behoove you to wait a little bit. Now, you might be wondering what this line is. It just shows you need to place your walnut to the left of the bowling line. It's sort of like real rules. If you cross the line, it's not a valid shot anymore. You'll also notice I have an Explode-A-Nut. This is not a plant that shows up in normal gameplay. It's just for this minigame, but when I throw that, boom! First thing it hits, it's basically a cherry bomb. Hits a 3x3 area and destroys everything within that space. And we got a couple cone heads right there, so I'm going to expend my next one. Probably wasn't the wisest decision, but then again, I'm not the world's smartest man. I like to think I'm relatively intelligent. I've learned a couple things over the years, I forget what. Maybe that wasn't these. There we go. Oh, barely missed him. Shoot, I would have really loved to take some health off of that guy right off the bat. Alright, we got another bomb to work with, though. That's good. Spin the right way. I don't know what dictates whether they go up or down, to be totally honest with you. I have no idea. It seems to be totally at random. Like, if you're on the edge, if you're on the top edge, it'll go down, obviously. If you're on the bottom edge, it'll go up. But I don't know how to manipulate that in my favor, because there are certain situations, like right here. Yeah, I definitely wanted him to go down there. And he did it again. Maybe it's just lane specific and I never even noticed. Huh. Alright, final wave, and we got 3 bombs to work with, which is pretty much going to make this as easy as possible, because now I can just go boom, boom. And there we go. Oh, and it's the plant I was talking about earlier. There we go, we got a new plant, the potato mine. Explodes on contact, but takes time to arm itself. Like I was saying earlier, this is potentially the most important plant in the entire game. Why? Guess you'll have to tune in next time to find out. Until then, I'm Whatthefnu. Later, everybody!